Come on, work. Something's the matter with this thing. I need new batteries. Hey everyone. Well, it's good to be back in my science fiction Doctor Who look. And of course, according to my Doctor Who watch, it's that time again. Time for another science fiction review. You know, after that time that I showed up wearing a suit and wearing all black and everything, I didn't know exactly what was going on until all of a sudden I came across a report saying calling Agent M, whoever that is, warning me about an alien species coming to my planet who is after me. And this reminds me so much of the review I'm going to review for you today. And of course I have Multi-Voiceanator, you know, my android who sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger, looking about, see who's after me. And the review I'm going to review for you today is The Predator. Dum ba 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 bum, ba 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 bum, dum ba 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 bum, bum ba 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 bum, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. Now I know some of you are going to be saying, "Hey, why don't you review Aliens either? Why don't you review Aliens too?" Well, to tell you the truth, I wasn't that crazy about Alien. When the movie came out, when I first saw it, it scared the crap out of me. So did this, but I hated Aliens. Now, when I saw the sequel, Aliens, Part 2 of Aliens, I liked it better than the first movie. Because it had the Marines, had more action in it. Anyway, let's get to the story, shall we? First, the first movie, Predator. And it's starring none other than former governor himself, Arnold, put that cookie down, Schwarzenegger. He's playing a soldier who goes by the name of Dutch. And he meets his old friend, played by Carl Weathers. You know him. He plays Rocky's opponent on Rocky 1 and 2, and then he becomes his teacher in the third one. And then in the fourth, he gets killed by that Russian boxer, played by Dolph Lundgren. And of course, former governor and former wrestler Jesse Ventura is there. I wonder what conspiracy he's talking about this time. But, compared to other science fiction horror, The Predator was the beginning of a science fiction horror genre besides Aliens. This one was made back in 1987. At first, when you first saw the movie, you'd be thinking it's more like a typical cliche war action film. Kind of like Rambo, right? Wrong! You see, folks, it has Jesse Ventura, Carl Weathers, and Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, but it's not like any other. Because in the movie, you have a bunch of tough, strong soldiers going into battle in Central America, battling against a bunch of guerrillas. Not gorillas, guerrillas. They're a bunch of revolutionaries. And all of a sudden they found a female gorilla who all of a sudden discovered something that is not beyond their knowledge. And of course Jesse Ventura, getting hurt on the arm. Hey, you're bleeding. I haven't enough time to bleed. But here's something really different you never expect in this movie. One by one, each and every soldier in this movie gets killed. Except the girl. He yells out, "Van, go! Get to the chopper!" While Arnold Schwarzenegger goes one-on-one with the creature himself. And then when the creature decided to go one-on-one with Arnold, he took off his mask and revealed his face. And Arnold Schwarzenegger said, "You are one ugly mother..." I can't say it. Sorry, I can't cuss because there's kids watching this. Oh, and bear in mind, kids, the first movie is very gory. The second movie, there's some nudity on it, so I don't recommend you kids to watch it unless you're old enough, because these movies are rated R. Okay, folks? Anyway, Arnold Schwarzenegger go one-on-one with the Predator himself, and that was like the end of Predator. But not for long. You see, there's a little bit more into the story that not many people notice. When they first made the movie, they thought the creature was going to be like this one-eyed, long-beak alien with speed and camouflage ability. But as they saw the monster himself, people laughed. And they were trying to have Jean-Claude Van Damme himself playing the monster. Would have been interesting if Jean-Claude Van Damme played the monster. Anytime, butthead. But instead it was played by a really tall 7-foot actor who played the Predator in both these movies. I think his name was Peter Lee David or something like that. I got his name wrong, but he played the Predator in both these movies. Now, unlike Arnold Schwarzenegger going one-on-one with that thing, the Thing returned in Predator 2. And one thing that's really interesting in this movie, instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger being the survivor and hero in the movie, you got Danny Glover. I'm getting too over this crap. Seriously, I'm getting too over this crap. And of course, Gary Busey, as the guy who tries to hunt down this creature so we can figure out his technology and so forth. And surprisingly, Bill Paxton was in this movie. What is with Bill Paxton appearing in these 80s sci-fi horror films? I mean, Bill Paxton was in the first Terminator. He played one of the punks who got his butt kicked by Arnold. And then he was in Alien 2. He was in the sequel, Alien. He was the one who yelled out, "Game over, man! Game over!" But in this movie, he plays a rookie cop who gets himself killed. And of course, Danny Glover goes one-on-one with the creature himself. Except it's not in the forest. It's not out in the jungle like the first movie. They were fighting. They were fighting in the city in New York. And this movie was made back in 1997. And after Danny Glover finally went one-on-one with that creature, and he killed him, the rest of the Predators, they decided to take the body and leave him be. And leave Earth. But before he leaves, the elderly Predator tossed him an old-fashioned antique pistol made back in 1778. Or, I think I got the year wrong. I know it was made back in the 1700s, but I'm not so sure about the rest of the year. But they gave it to him as like, as a weapon from the elderly Predator. Kind of shows they've been around for years. And sadly, folks, after these two movies, they hadn't made any Predator movies since. But But, dang mosquitoes. But, folks, there is a lot of comic books of the Predator. Believe it or not, folks, there was a company called Dark Horse. Dark Horse been making a lot of comic books of Alien and Predator. And, surprisingly, they finally figured out, since they did comic book series of 2 horror monsters that are from the same company, 20th Century Fox, they decided to do a crossover comic where the Predator and the Alien fight against one another. And that's when the comic book of Alien vs. Predator was born. And it got so popular, they've been doing action figures. I collected a few. And a lot of video games and computer games. From Super Nintendo all the way to the PC. Even they made one for Atari Jaguar. Until finally, in 2005, same year I graduated from college, they decided to make this. Alien vs. Predator, the movie. Now, some people hate this movie, other people like this movie. To me, I like it. It's really good. I like the premise, I like the origin, I like everything about it. Heck, I even like one of the Predators teaming up with the woman, who is a black woman, who decided to do the whole, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And she was like supposed to be like the next Sigourney Weaver. And of course, Lance Henderson from the Alien movies, who plays Bishop, he plays the sole founder of his company who makes these androids. Kind of explain why all these androids look more like him in those Alien sequels. And of course the girl and the Predator goes one-on-one with the Queen in this film. Until they left a cliffhanger where it turns out this Predator was face-hugged and a Pred alien showed up. And that cliffhanger created the most abominable, awful sequel I have ever seen in my entire life. And this is the only movie you're going to see me criticize here. Alien vs. Predator, I would say part 2 because I cannot pronounce the next line. But this sequel was horrible. It was so dark. It was so... And what bothered me the most is the Pred alien all of a sudden crash landed into a small town and kept killing people. And one thing that freaked me out so bad is when the Pred alien starts sneaking around in the hospital and sees a bed full of pregnant mothers. A bunch of pregnant women all around. And what does Pred alien do? The Pred alien laid eggs on the pregnant women. And as the cops showed up, all the pregnant women were screaming, and a bunch of aliens start popping out of her big belly. All of them. It was awful. It was so horrible. I need my mommy. But keep it together. Oh. Ave Maria. Oh, sorry. When I get traumatized, I keep singing that song. Old habit. Sorry, folks. But avoid this movie at all costs because this film sucked. Get out of here. Loser. And just about in the year 2010, a great film director who goes by the name of Robert Rodriguez, you know, the same guy who made Dusk Till Dawn and Spy Kids, he decided to make his version of an Alien movie, So therefore, he made this movie, Aliens. I mean, Predators. Sorry. Predators. This here was a really good movie. Now, there's some people who criticize it, saying that it was an awful movie, but I say this movie is really good. There are a few flaws in it, but all in all, it is a good movie. And of course, one thing most people had a problem is this actor here. You probably recognize him. He played the piano. They wanted him to play an action star. I really don't see him as an action hero, because even though he did work out in this movie, I mean, before they made this movie, he was working out. But sadly, he still looked like a scrawny guy. Now, let's see. Can't find the darn name of this actor. His name escapes me anyway. But one thing that's really neat about this movie, now this one's pretty cool. Unlike the first movie where you have a bunch of soldiers going out in the jungle to do a mission and they go encounter with that creature and it's the alien, this one is more reverse. You see, one thing about these predators, wait a minute, there's a name for them. What is it? Yacha. They call themselves the Yachas. So anyway, the Yachas, they're like game hunters from another galaxy. And their entire mission is they go after and they hunt any dangerous people. It's more of a challenge to them. They only go after people who are more threatening. Like they go after soldiers and serial killers. So pretty much, this movie had a lot of characters who are unrelatable characters. Most of them were serial killers, assassins, mercenaries, terrorists. Heck, even one of them was a Yakuza. And you know what they are. Japanese mafia. And of course, it turns out, our main character here, this guy, turns out he's a hitman, an assassin. And he discovered that they're not on Earth. They're in another planet. And what they're doing is they are kidnapping and taking people who are murderers or soldiers into their planet so they can hunt them down. And of course they have a habit of removing their heads and collect their skulls as trophies. This one has a few flaws, but all in all, it is a good movie. I recommend this one was a lot better than the sequel of Alien vs. Predator. And now I hear there's a new Predator movie coming out. Heck, they already made a new Alien movie. I wasn't interested on watching. And for those you who are going to be asking me, no, I haven't seen Prometheus. I wasn't interested. Sorry, folks. I wasn't that interested on Prometheus. I was more interested in the Predator than I did with Alien. And it also turns out there is one original alien in this movie. The other three are called berserkers, other species who are rivals against the Predators. So, my advice to you guys, check out the Predator movies, the new movie, Alien vs. Predator, and avoid the sequel! And I might be looking forward to see this new Predator movie coming out soon. I heard it's going to be closer to the comic books from the Dark Horse comics. You know, I thought that Star Wars should have crossed over with Predator, because I can see potential of one of the Predators become a Sith. But sadly, Disney owned the right of Marvel and Star Wars, so now Marvel does the comics for Star Wars. What a waste. But in the DC comics, they did do a crossover of the Justice League and the Predator, where they met a Predator version of the Justice League. There was Predator Batman, Predator Superman, Predator Wonder Woman, you name it. And of course, in the Green Lantern story, you know that the Yellow Lantern, Sinestro Corps, they have a Predator as a member. So, if any of you like this review, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. And it's going to be October pretty soon. And you know what that means? October, it's going to be grim, scary tales. So, I gotta start thinking about more scary stories for you to tell for you folks. But it's going to be the last grim, scary tales. Sadly. And then after that, it'll be back to basics. So, hey, Multi-Voiceanator, what's wrong?
Go! Van! Get to the chopper!
Aw, crap, it's here. I think my sonic screwdriver ain't gonna be helping me on this one. If I can get this thing working. So, see you folks.
Go! Van! I'll be back. Soon, multi-voice reviewer, your skull will be mine.